Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Sauce. NFL Week 3 is here, Thursday Night Football. We're off to a great start this year. 4 weeks of college football in the books, 2 weeks of NFL in the books. Haven't had a losing week yet, which is solid, obviously. That's not going to last forever, but I'm loving it in the meantime. Congratulations to Tommy Cash for winning the signed Drake London helmet in the Against the Spread contest in Week 2. Week 3's winners getting a signed David Montgomery jersey. Info to sign up for that is on KyleKirms.com. But let's get to the game. We got Giants on the road in San Francisco to play the 49ers. This line was at 10.5. It dropped to 10 on most books. Total was at 45, now down to 44.5 on most books. Let's go.
Welcome to The Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
So like I said, this line was at 10.5 earlier in the week. It's now down to 10 even. There are still a couple books that have it at 10.5 out there. Everyone's on San Francisco. Public heavy on the Niners. Tickets on the Niners. Money on the Niners. Everyone you've ever met is betting San Francisco in this game. I don't think the line's going to move. I think it's going to stay at 10, 10.5. Odds makers seem pretty comfortable playing against all this San Francisco money. So let's start by taking a look at the Giants. And through 6 quarters of football, the New York Giants were looking like they may set a record this season for the worst football team ever assembled. They had been outscored 60-0. Joshua Dobbs and James Conner were carving them up. The Giants actually didn't force a Cardinals punt until the 4th quarter in that game. Things were looking absolutely terrible. But then out of nowhere, the offense just snapped into form. Daniel Jones started delivering. Giants scored 31 points in the second half of that game to come back and win. Daniel Jones in the second half alone, 17 of 21, 259 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He also added 58 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. And it's not just the Giants offense that deserves the credit here for this comeback. The Giants defense, who was struggling earlier in the game, really showed up at the end. The final 4 drives of the game for the Cards, 17 plays, just 48 yards, 0 points, under 3 yards per play. But this comeback win did not come without a cost. Saquon Barkley sprained his ankle in the second to last play of the game. They also lost their left guard, Ben Bredeson, to he had a concussion. Both of them have been ruled out. Neither of them are playing in this game. Also, their star left tackle, Andrew Thomas, he's not going to play either. He got hurt in the Cowboys game. So some serious injury concerns on the offensive side of the ball for the Giants in this one. And let's be realistic. I mean, I'm not trying to take any credit away from the Giants, but that was the Cardinals defense, a unit that was ranked 24th in DVOA last year. And they were playing that game without 3 defensive starters, including Budda Baker, who might be the best player on the entire team. Now they play San Francisco, and obviously we know how official that defense is. Best defense in the NFL last year, 1st in overall DVOA, 5th against the pass, 2nd against the run. But you know what? 49ers defense didn't look too great last week. It was the divisional game, so take it with a grain of salt. Those are always a little weird. But the Rams actually outgained San Francisco in that game. They were significantly better on 3rd downs. They won the time of possession battle. In fact, if it wasn't for the 2 Rams turnovers to 0 for the 49ers, Rams had a realistic shot of winning that game. 49ers were sitting in a soft zone and getting absolutely punished for it because the pass rush was just non-existent. Bosa didn't record a sack. Hargrave and Armstead didn't generate any push inside. Drake Jackson, who had 3 sacks in the opener, didn't do much of anything in this game. And this was against a Rams offensive line that was a disaster last season. The Rams were 31st in adjusted sack rate last year. Now, to be fair, the Rams have now seen the Seahawks and the 49ers, and their offensive line sits at 6th in adjusted sack rate this year. So the Rams offensive line seems to be taking a huge step forward this year. But still, for the 49ers pass rush to be a non-factor, that's crazy. That's significant. Now, the good news for the San Francisco pass rush is they play the Giants. The Giants offensive line, especially when it comes to pass protection, has been the worst thing I've ever seen so far. Through 2 games, Daniel Jones has been sacked 10 times. Giants offensive line is dead last in adjusted sack rate this season. They're also dead last in pressure rate. If it was just the Cowboys game, I'd say, okay, I'd let it slide. Like, you know what? You played an elite defensive front, a great pass rush. It was week 1. It was raining. We'll let it slide. But to struggle against the Cardinals pass rush that was just 25th in adjusted sack rate last year, that's inexcusable. So I expect the 49ers pass rush to be a factor in this one. No way they'll be shut down 2 weeks in a row. As far as the Giants run game goes, I mean, this is a tough situation here. No Saquon Barkley. As I mentioned earlier, they're missing two pieces of their offensive line. 49ers were the second highest rated run defense in the NFL last year, and they added Javon Hargrave to that defensive front. So on paper, the Giants shouldn't be able to do much of anything on the ground here. And even some of the positive points of the Giants offense just don't have great matchups here. Daniel Jones and Darren Waller started connecting last week. 6 catches, 76 yards. Okay, there's something for the Giants. But you know what? San Francisco's pass defense is elite over the middle of the field with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. I mean, they were 7th in the NFL in DVOA versus passes over the middle of the field last year, 2nd in short passes over the middle of the field last year, and they're picking up right where they left off this season, 3rd and 4th in those two categories. The two tight ends they've seen so far this season, Tyler Higbee and Pat Freiermuth, those two combined for just 4 catches and 15 yards on 11 targets. They've been shutting tight ends down. Unfortunately, it seems like the path to success for the Giants offense is to attack the 49ers secondary, because that's the only part of this defense that's beatable. So guys like Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Paris Campbell, Jalen Hyatt, those guys need to win their battles on the outside. And I honestly think they can. The 49ers secondary isn't anything special. The problem is going to be whether or not Daniel Jones even has time to exploit these matchups. One thing I will mention is San Francisco's vulnerability deep. In terms of DOA, the 49ers were 31st against the deep ball in 2021, 24th in 2022. This is a unit that lost Jimmy Ward and Emmanuel Mosley last year in the offseason, which should theoretically only make them worse in that department. And while Daniel Jones wasn't much of a deep ball threat, I mean, he had one of the lowest average depth of targets in the NFL last year, we saw him complete 4 passes of 25-plus yards last week. And a huge highlight in that game was Jones throwing a perfect 59-yard bomb to Jalen Hyatt. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think he's going to connect on a few of these. On the other side, you got the 49ers offense against the Giants defense, and on paper, this matchup is crazy based on the numbers we've seen so far. Giants defense hits 27th in DVOA, 23rd in red zone percentage, 25th in yards per carry allowed, and dead last in sack rate. This defense is off to a rough start. Now, if you like the Giants, your angle is, hey, the Giants defense was decent in the Cowboys game, because it was. I mean, the Cowboys only had 265 yards of offense in that game. It was pouring rain. Offense wasn't doing much. So the Giants defense was all right. It got off to a slow start in the Cardinals game, but showed up when it counted, and Brock Purdy's coming off the worst game of his career. Want to see what the worst game of Brock Purdy's career looks like? 17 of 25, 68% completions, 206 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 93.1 passer rating. 49ers still scored 30 points in a comfortable win. That was the worst game of Brock Purdy's career, including playoff games. And Christian McCaffrey's just off to a monster start this year. 2 back-to-back 100-plus yard rushing performances. In these 2 games, McCaffrey owns an NFL best 98 rushing yards over expectation. So basically, that metric's telling us that Christian McCaffrey recorded 98 more rushing yards than the average back would have put in that same spot. Last year, Nick Chubb led the NFL with 284 rushing yards over expectation. So McCaffrey's on pace to slaughter that. That's how dominant he's been. But there is a weakness in this 49ers offense, and it's not getting talked about. The pass blocking doesn't look great. So far in the season, the 49ers offensive line is giving up a 24.6 pressure rate. It's one of the worst in the NFL. Kayvon Thibodeau hasn't done anything yet this year. In fact, he didn't record a single stat last week, just 4 tackles on the season. Primetime Thursday night against the 49ers seems like the perfect spot for Thibodeau to have a remember me game. And I know this Giants defense is off to a disgustingly bad start, but we know this defense is going to be better this year. Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, all healthy. There's talent on this defensive front. They're going to be better than they were last year. Before we get to the game picks, I got an underdog pick 'em in from Prop Beaver. It's a 4-piece McNugget, one being the promo leg. Daniel Jones higher than a half pass yard. Obviously, that's a free leg. Christian McCaffrey lower than 29.5 receiving yards. Darius Slayton higher than 32.5 receiving yards. Darren Waller lower than 4 receptions. That's a 4-piece, like I said, so it pays out 10 times if it hits. If you don't have an underdog account, it's located in any state highlighted in yellow in this map. So if you're in one of these states, go to Underdog Fantasy. You can go to the website or download the app. When you make your account, make sure you use the promo code BET, B-E-T. That'll give you a $100 deposit bonus. So if you deposit $100, they'll give you a free $100 to play with. All right, as far as what I'm betting, You guys are going to hate this one, but I'm betting the Giants here. It's just too early in the season to lay double-digit points, especially in a short week on Thursday night. The entire world is taking the 49ers. I don't trust the 49ers pass blocking. I think the Giants pass rush is going to show up. I got it at 10.5 on FanDuel, so I'm taking it. Give me the G-Men. If you want my top bets, parlay of the day, if you want to join the Discord, or you want to get in on the NFL against the spread giveaway, the signed David Montgomery jersey goes to the winner this week. Head over to KyleKirms.com. All that information is right there on the homepage. NFL Week 3, we're off to a great start this season. Let's keep it rolling. Also a loaded college football weekend. This is a great betting weekend. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.